My name is Zach Weathers. I was in a mountain biking accident that led to me having to get a fusion, a C3 and C4 spinal fusion. Anytime in my life where I've fallen on hard times, it's the community of people around me that's picked me up. So when this accident happened, I was just amazed. The ambulance arrives and I guess it realizes that they need to get the life flight. So they order the life flight and the life flight comes and they have to put me on a straight board and they had to carry me out of the woods. You know, all these grown men like struggling to climb over rocks and different brush. And I felt like, I remember that moment very well because I remember like, oh my God, these guys are really coming together as a unit to help me. You know, it's just like I'm watching TV. Once I had the surgery, I was able to start to move my legs and arms, but then began the process of how do I walk again, feed myself again, play guitar again, do all the things that matter to me. Those first few days were very, it's scary not knowing. My question to them, I had the same question for the first couple of days, was how long will it take for me to be back to normal? They told me it was up to me. That was powerful to me. Not one person, not two. I'm saying 6, 7, 8 different doctors and nurses through a couple of days stay. They all had that same answer. And I was like, well, hey, this is great news. Like, if it's up to me, then I'm going to be okay. I'm going to do everything I can to be okay. I have a very competitive mind frame. I set my mind to be positive. I never let a negative thought of like, what if? I just kept on telling myself, well, it's up to me, so I'm gonna do the most I can today with what I have. And you know, maybe my hands were hypertonic and I couldn't squeeze them, but I would sit there and just try my hardest just to get my hands to close. And there's eventually, after a couple of days of trying, it just closed, you know, and I was like, I did this. I closed my hands today. This is the biggest thing for me. This aha moment that I had was, I was laying in bed and I was just sitting there thinking all day about the injury, about the accident, all these things just replaying in my mind. And I don't know, I was just out. I was asleep and something inside my body shouted at me. And then I just heard this loud, like, stand up! And I just woke up and it was like so clear. And I was like, I reached over to my fiance and I told her, I was like, hey babe, I have to stand up right now.
Did that 100-mile thing, right?
And so I mustered up all my energy and I tried very hard to sit up on my own, take my leg off the bed for the first time by myself, everything, you know, don't help, I have to do this. They realized what was going on and I think they wanted it to happen and they saw me willing myself to do this. I stood up, man, and when I stood up, it was like my back was arching and I was just like, oh my God, like I never stood so tall in my life. The next day, I think I took my first step and then I did like 600 feet on a walker, you know. So I realized your outlook, your positive thinking, it contributes more than you know to your success of getting over it. And sometimes, you know, life hands you these cards and you just, that's life, you know, and you have to keep on going. Doesn't mean life has to stop. The disruption that this injury gave me is not going to hinder my life. And I'm not going to give it that power because I'm in control of my destiny.
Let's see if I can get deeply. Oh my God, I can do it.
I remember the first time they gave me my guitar, it was in the hospital. I was able to play a couple of chords. And it was like, oh, I can still do this. My band's name is Another Run. I've been a guitar player pretty much my whole life. It started out as just a passion and hobby when I was a kid, but it turned into something serious with a group of friends after we had some success with our group early on. The OT and PT people at the hospital were asking about my personal life. They knew I was in a band, they wanted to hear some of it. And there's this song that we wrote, it's called I'm Not Afraid. And that song just lined up with where my mind was. and where my head was. And the song has really powerful lyrics about pretty much overcoming, you know, about having the world on your shoulders and not being afraid. My fiance, Caroline, is just probably the most amazing person I know. She helped organize so much of my success and helped organizing that community of people. She was there with me every day of the accident. She didn't leave the hospital one time. It's incredible. She slept on the couch. I felt, my heart was just sinking for her.
One minute I thought I loved him, and the next minute I realized how much I really loved him. So that for me was what kicked in. It was just seeing him and just being very scared and not knowing what was going to happen. It was a no-brainer to just stay and wait it out and make sure he was, you know, in a good situation.
What made the biggest impact for me was I never looked behind me, I only looked forward. I was aware of the accident and I was aware of all the things, but my mind was getting back to me. My mind was set on all the other things in life that I was doing before. I was not concerned about the accident. I was, but I was just like, oh, don't worry about it, oh, I'll be fine. So I think you have to have that moment with yourself of like, hey, this is going to be okay.